All right, welcome back, everybody. I am teacher Nathan from Writers at Work, and we will be going through Raffles Girls paper from 2023, P5 English end of year. Without further ado, let's start with grammar. Question 1 reads, Mr. Johnson saw Melvin dash an injured boy cross the road 2 days ago. Over here, we are interested in tenses. Let's take a look at some keywords. Saw. So this is in past tense. And we also have 2 days ago. Let's take a look at the options given to us. First one is help. This is in present tense and it's for plural. We have helps, which is present tense and singular. Next, we have helped, which is in the past tense, and help, which is in the past perfect tense. Which means that one action occurred before second action took place. Okay, so you may be thinking, since my two keywords are actually the two keywords are saw and 2 days ago, it must be in past tense. But we cannot forget about the verbs of perception. So when we have two verbs, verb 1 and verb 2, the second verb will be in the base form if the first verb is related to your sight. So it can be watch, observe, so on, so forth. Okay? So in this case, it is saw, which is related to your sight. So your second verb here must be in the base form, which is option number 1. Okay, Mubarak. Will there be any more O-level English live? Yes, you can refer to our link in bio for the list of days where we have O-level teaching. If you want me to teach O-level, that will be next Monday. I'll be finishing up 2023 paper. All right. Now let's go on to question 2 here. My sister and I dashed this trip to Japan to visit our grandparents since last month. Over here, we are interested in tenses. Let's take a look at some of the keywords. My sister and I, so it's plural, and they have been planning since last month. So it is an ongoing activity. First one, we have plan, which is in the present tense and is for plural. Plan, ed, this is past tense. Then we have has been planning and have been planning. These are known as present perfect. The words are in present perfect tense. And this means that the action started in the past and is still continuing now. Okay? Now, because we are looking at plural here, plural noun, the option that we will select would be number 4. Okay? And that would be our answer for the question 2. Let's move on to question 3 now. Question 3 reads, I had much dash Jenna because he was a strong competitor who showed good sportsmanship. Over here, we are interested in prepositions. Prepositions allow us to understand the relationship between things, the direction of things, among other things. Okay? So over here we are looking at someone's respect. And for what? Is for a person who is Jenna in this case. Okay? So with that in mind, let's take a look at some of the options. Of tells about relationship. He is the mother of Sam. For tells me about elaborations. Over tells me height, while around tells me direction. The plane flew over the building. This already tells me the relative height between two things. Next, if we talk about around, it will be the trajectory of a certain noun or pronoun. Okay, so in this case, we are looking at the respect and we are talking about respect for somebody, which is an elaboration of my idea here. As such, we will always use respect for to elaborate on that idea of respect. Okay? Let's take a look at question 4 now. Question 4 reads, Ali or his sisters dash decorating the house. They will be hosting a party later. First thing first, this is a subject-verb agreement question. Let's take a look at my keywords. Sisters. This is plural. Hosting a party later. So this is in the future. When we talk about future events, we will use present tense. Okay? So we will be interested in plural and present tense, which is option number 2. Are decorating the house. Okay? Moving on to question 5. All the girls went to the park dash day. Over here, we are looking at question tags. We need to identify keywords now. They went to the park. This is past tense. All right. The next thing we need to consider are my options. Do, this is present tense. Did is past tense. Don't is present tense. Didn't is past tense. So when we are looking at the past tense in the question, my options that are present tense will be eliminated. So I have did and didn't. So went can be rewritten as they did go to the park. So this is my positive connotation here. I'll need a negative connotation at the back. So the answer would be didn't. Okay. And there we have our answer for question 5 is number 4. Okay, let's take a look at question 6 now. You are dashed by way. Please move aside so that we can get past, Mary exclaimed at the man standing in the hallway. Over here, we are looking at prepositions, which are mainly words to convey a sense of direction, a relationship, elaboration, etc. So look at this. The keyword here is you need to move aside. So probably the man is blocking the way. With that in mind, let's take a look at some of our options available. First one is in. In tells me a direction, the location. I am in the house. Sam is in the car. We're looking at the location of someone. At tells me location as well. Just that it's a different kind of location. At is more specific. I am at block 71. That means I am at this special location. Versus I am in Ang Mo Kio. It's a very big place, but at will tell you a more specific location. On tells me the surface of object. The tablet is lying on the table. So my table is that flat surface and the tablet is resting on it. Okay. Lastly, we have with. With is to show two things together. I am going to the clinic with my mother. It means two of us are going to the same place. Okay. So now we are interested in how someone is blocking. That means you are in my way. Okay. It tells everyone a position, and the position is you are blocking people from moving somewhere. Okay, and we cannot be too specific because the walkway is there isn't any location marker for you to identify which part of the walkway the person is standing and blocking you, right? As such, we'll use it. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I just shared before we move on to the next question. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the comment section and we will discuss. If there are no further questions, let's move on to question 7. Mrs. Tan, as well as her pupils, dash performing a dance at the upcoming graduation concert. Over here, we are interested in subject-verb agreement again. So let's take a look at some keywords. Mrs. Tan, this is singular. Take note, we also have two commas here, and here. This means that this as well as our pupils is extra info. Okay. And the next thing we need to take note is upcoming graduation concert. So this is in the future. So we will need to use present tense. Okay. So when we are looking at present tense and there is singular, we only have one option, which is. Okay, and that will be our answer. Moving on to question 8. Dash the wedding ceremony is about to start. Most of the guests have not arrived yet. Over here, we're interested in conjunctions, which are basically your linking words. And we have two different ideas here that are contrasting. The ceremony is about to start, so we will expect everybody to be seated down and ready. But the reality is, the guests have not arrived. So you can tell that there is a contrast. So let's take a look at our keywords. As and since tells me reasons. Despite and although are used for contrast. However, for despite, we are talking about the same subject followed by a noun or pronoun. So, for example, despite being ill, Max participated in the run. You can see that we are looking at the same thing, which is Max. And what happened to Max? There are two different pieces of contrasting information for Max, being ill and participated in the run. So my central focus in this sentence is on Max. That is why we use despite. By this case of question 8, there's two different information that are that do not have any that they are related to one another, but there isn't that main central idea. As such, we will use although for question 8. Okay, so that will be my answer, although. Moving on to question 9. Do you know that lady dash you spoke to at the lobby is the principal of the school? Over here, we are looking at pronouns. Okay, the next thing we are looking at is lady and you spoke to. So we need to identify who is the subject and who is the object of the sentence. The object is the lady, while the subject is you. You spoke to the lady. Okay. So as such, we need to find a pronoun that replaces the object. Let's take a look at our options given. The first one is which. Which is used for non-humans, so we don't even consider this option to begin with. Whom is an object personal pronoun, so it replaces the object of a sentence. Where tells me location, so this is not even relevant to us. Lastly, whose is a possessive pronoun. Possessive pronouns are used to show ownership or something. So Ali, whose wallet is missing, is my friend. In this example sentence here, it is very clear that the wallet belongs to Ali, and Ali is also my friend. Can you see? So I just want to bring up this point that the wallet belongs to him. That's why I use whose. In this case, we are interested to change the object of my sentence to a pronoun. So the closest answer we have is who. Okay, so it's option 2. Lastly, we have question 10. Lily and Sheila invited Dash friend Andrew to join them at the library. Over here, we are interested in pronouns again. Okay. Then we are looking at some keywords, which are Lily and Sheila. So there are two people, so it is in plural. Okay. Now, his, her, and their, these are known as possessive pronouns. They are used to show ownership or a clear relationship with their objects or human beings, whereas them is used to show object personal pronoun. which means that we are replacing the object of sentence. As such, it's very clear when we want to talk about how this friend is related to both of these girls, that we will use possessive pronouns, and because it's plural, we will use number 3 there. Okay, so good job, El Panoska. Okay, our answer is 3. Okay, I'll just give everybody some time to take in the information I just shared before we move on to the next question. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the comment section. Okay, if there are no further questions, let's go on to vocabulary. All right, let's take a look at question 11 first. John and Wei Ming are no longer arguing, as they have decided to dash and become friends again. So we are interested in two things: no longer arguing, and they become friends again. Okay, let's take a look at the keywords. By some time, this is basically taking longer than expected to do something. And this is done deliberately. Okay. Face the music is basically being confronted with unpleasant consequences. Okay. Bury the hatchet basically means to end conflict. Okay. Lastly, read between the lines means that you understand what somebody means, though not openly said. So it's observing somebody's actions and understanding the emotions or the information you want to communicate to you. Okay, back to the keywords. They no longer argue, they became friends. So we are looking at how there isn't any conflict, any tensions. So the closest option we have is number 3, bury the hatchet, and you mean you want to end the conflict. Okay, so that will be option number 3. Moving on, let's take a look at number 12 here, question 12. As Lena was busy with work, she had to dash the time she spent on her hobbies. So over here, we are looking at some phrasal verbs. All right. The first keyword we need to to identify is the time spent on her hobbies. The next thing we need to take note is she was busy with work. So you can see that these two are contrasting ideas. If you need to do work, you can't enjoy your hobbies. Okay? So let's take a look at the options available. The first one is cut in. Cut in means you interrupt somebody as they speak. So you cut into the conversation. Cut up here means that you cut something into smaller pieces. So you could say you cut up the carrot into smaller slices. Okay, we have cut back here. Cut back means you reduce the quantity of something. Lastly, cut away means that you remove something from the shell or opening. Okay, so you could say that you cut away the husk of that peanut so you can eat the small nut inside the husk. Okay, so with that, it's quite clear that Lena needs to reduce the time spent on her homework, which is number 3. Okay, as such, our option is number 3. Let's go on to question 13. Harmful ultraviolet rays from the sun can easily damage the baby's dash skin. Okay, over here, we are interested in baby and skin, as well as harmful. Harmful here means that it will bring about damage. We also have baby, which is likely very weak and defenseless. So the skin is expected to also be very weak, very prone to danger or damage. Okay. Now let's take a look at the options given. Weary, that means you are extremely tired. Dainty basically means delicate, delicately small and pretty. So we usually talk about small children being dainty. Feeble means you are frail, you are very prone to danger. So usually we say the feeble old man. And delicate means that is the structure is very fine. So it's very prone to damage. Okay. So because we are interested in this element of damage and also being very fine, fine in the sense that it's very thin, right? And this actually answers our question here, which is looking at baby's skin. And we are also talking about how the ultraviolet rays are harmful, which means they can cause damage easily. As such, our answer for question 13 would be number 4, delicate. Okay? Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information just shared before we move on to the next question. Okay. If there are no further questions, let's go on to question 14. The school has dash plans to build a new library near the courtyard. Over here, we are interested in plan. And whose plan is it? The school. It's a big organization. Alright, with that in mind, let's take a look at the options given. The first one is unveiled. Unveiled here means that you announce publicly for the first time. Untangled, that means you free something from a tangled state. Basically, this means that you are set free from some kind of restriction. Unearth here means that you find something in the ground by digging. Lastly, we have uncombed. Uncombed means you are unkempt. That means your hair is very messy. Okay? So because we are interested in some kind of plan, and this plan is being revealed to everybody, the best option would be number 1, unveiled. Okay? Now moving on, let's look at question 15. I remember that Hannah was not in school last week, but I am not certain. So the thing that we are interested in is here, I am not certain. That means he is not 100% sure. Okay? With that in mind, let's take a look at our options. The first one is vaguely. Vaguely means unclear or uncertain. Next, we have formally. Formally means in accordance to your etiquette. So you are following certain rules and social norms. Okay. We have distinctly also, which means that something is readily distinguishable, or can tell apart easily, or differentiate easily. Okay. Lastly, we have raucously, which means loud and energetic. So you can see that the author here is not very sure about Hannah's attendance in class. So this means that she is not sure or uncertain. Therefore, option 1 is the best answer for this question. Okay. So I'll give everyone some time to take in the information I've just shared before we go on to the next section. If there are any questions, please feel free to type them in the comment section. This is P5 RGS paper from 2023. Okay, Ashton Low. If there are no further questions, let's take a look at our vocab close. So what we will do is, I will go through the text with everybody and explain the meanings of the words underlined. Once we have a rough idea of what the text is talking about and what it is testing you on, then we will take a look at the options available and discuss them in detail. The word slip through my teeth with ease. Ease here means there is an absence of difficulty or effort. That means something is done really easily. Okay, next one. Really? The girls on the swings beside me will ask, white eyes blinking with childlike naivety. Naivety. Okay? So over here, we are looking at a lack of experience or knowledge. Yeah, basically naive. Okay? I nodded as they whispered under their breath how incredible my tale was. Incredible here means something is impossible to believe. Okay? It was amazing that they bought into it without a second thought. A second thought basically means that you change your opinion after considering something again. I had made up the story purely for the pleasure of it. Pleasure here means satisfaction or enjoyment. Then you do something out of the fun and that kind of joy and happiness you can derive or get out of it. Okay? Lying was addictive. I felt invincible. Invincible here, for everyone's learning, means that you felt very strong or very powerful. Little did I know I will soon be found out. Okay, then we'll be done with this text. Okay, the first question asked on ease. That means something is not very difficult. Okay, with that in mind, let's take a look at our options here. The first one, entirely. Entirely means completely, 100%. Effortlessly means require little effort. Abundantly means large quantities. So we are looking at an abundant harvest. There's a lot of food can be harvested. Then we also have appropriately, which means suitable or proper. So we can always talk about appropriate dressing. For example, when you go for a wedding dinner, you will not wear a t-shirt. You will probably wear a tuxedo, for example. Okay? So over here, we're looking at with ease. That means you don't need to put in a lot of effort. Something is not difficult. So you can see from our options, the closest we have is effortlessly. That means you don't need a lot of effort to do something. Okay? And that will be our answer. Option 2. Next, we have naivety, right? So naivety means there's a lack of experience or knowledge. Okay, let's take a look at the options. First one is wisdom. Wisdom means that you have knowledge and experience. That's why you can be wise. Next is innocence. Innocence means no experience in something. Experience means that you have a practical contact with an observation of events. So if you say that you have experience in sports, you will probably have played that sports for some time. So you know the different rules of the games, the competitors, and how they behave. Lastly is sophistication, which is the understanding of the world and its ways. So you have a knowledge and you appreciate how things run and function. Okay, so over here we are looking at a word to show that you do not have any experience. So the closest answer we have is innocence. All right, therefore my answer would be option number 2. Okay, let's take a look at question 18. Question 18 is testing you on the word incredible, which means something is very impossible to believe. Okay, so let's take a look at the options given to us. First one is hysterical. Hysterical means uncontrolled emotions. So you could say that after the tsunami, people were hysterical because they lost a lot of their belongings. Exhilarating means thrilling. That means very exciting. Okay. Superfluous means extra or unnecessary. So we always talk about the superfluous details. Lastly, we have unbelievable, which means that something is unlikely to be true. Okay. So going back to our option here, something is impossible to believe means something is unlikely to be true. That's why you will not even believe it to begin with. Okay, so our answer for question 18 is number 4. Okay, all right, Ashton Lau, our TikTok will end by uh 4 p.m. today. Okay, this going through of paper will end by 4 p.m. Moving back to the question, let's take a look at this question 19. Second thought. Second thought means you change an opinion after considering something again. Now we have resolution, which means a firm decision to do something. Next, we have discussion. Discussion means that you have some kind of conversation about something with people. Okay. Next, we have speculation. Speculation means you form theory without evidence. For example, one of your classmates was late, so you started saying that he woke up late. He missed the bus. You're just giving ideas that are not supported with some evidence or clues, right? Next, we have consideration. Consideration means you think of something over a period of time. Okay. So back to the question. We are looking at how you want to give second thought. That means you want to think about some decision again and again. So how do we do that? You need to consider something again, which is about thinking over something over a period of time. Okay, so our answer would be number 4. Moving on, we have Question 20, pleasure, which means that you are satisfied or you enjoy something. Looking at the options, we have joy. Joy here means that you have great pleasure. Okay, it's a direct synonym. Wonder means that you are amazed because of something. Distress means you are extremely anxious or sorrowful. That means you are sad. Okay. Lastly, we have contempt. Contempt is the feeling that somebody is worth less. Okay. So over here, we are interested in your pleasure. That means you are satisfied, you are happy. So the closest option we have would be joy. Option number 1. Okay, to answer Raja Srivi Siram 458. Are we supposed to do like this? Wouldn't you run out of time? Well, I'm doing practice here, and the intent is for you to learn the vocab. That's why we are taking more time than what you would usually take in an examination setting. The question we should ask all ourselves is, how do we do this paper fast? The answer is you need to know the meanings of each of these words. Not everything, but at least 3 of them, so that you can eliminate the options that are wrong or irrelevant and move on to the next question. But how do you prepare yourself for that? It is by painstakingly looking through all the meanings during a practice session, and that's where you will learn what you don't know. Okay? That is why there is value in me going through option by option, as well as understanding the meaning of what is being tested here. With this appreciation, you are in a better state to tackle your vocabulary questions. Okay? Yeah, for question 20, 黑猫咩, correct. Number 1 is the answer. Okay? Now, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I just shared before we move on to section B. Okay? If there are any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat and we will discuss them. All right, everyone. If there are no further questions, let's go on to section B. Okay, we'll look at our grammar clause first. First thing first, cats meow, sheep bleat, and frogs croak. There some animals are known for the sounds they make. Others seem to be silent. Okay? So over here, we're interested in two different groups of animals. The first group is animals that make sounds that we know, and the second group is those that remain silent. So when we want to present these two information in the same sentence, the conjunction that we will use is P. Wow. Okay. Has anyone ever heard a pet dash a pet turtle? So we are interested in the source of this PEEP, which is from a turtle here. Okay. So our answer would be F, from. A new research found that 53 species of animals thought dash be nonverbal actually made sounds. So we are looking at how the animals were initially you had certain thoughts on them. And what are the thoughts? Non-verbal. So we are looking at some elaboration here. So you taught something to be non-verbal. Okay. The study suggested that dash animals use vocalizations to communicate. So we are only interested in 53 animals that were initially thought to be non-verbal. Okay, so when we want to refer to these animals, and mind you, 53 is plural, we will use these. Okay. Every single species we recorded made sounds. Researcher so and so shared. During the study in the Amazon, he heard vocalizations from dash. So for question 33 here, we are interested in the 53 animals again. Just that we are interested in object personal pronouns here. And because it is 53, which is plural, and we need the object personal pronoun, the option that we are looking at is them. Each animal was recorded with advanced equipment dash for at least 24 hours. So we are looking at a certain time period here with certain items, with certain objects. So to show that the object, which is your advanced equipment, was operational for this specific time period, we will use for. All right. The animal's ability to vocalize might be linked to dash common ancestor from 407 million years ago. Okay. So you can see here that your ancestor is singular. So when you want to talk about just one human, you will use a. The researchers on the team think it might have been an ancient fish, one that lived dash a time when the ocean covered more of Earth than they do today. So we are looking at a specific time period. And during this specific time period, ocean covered more of the Earth. So we will use at, because at is something that allows us to specify the time period. Okay. specify. Okay, if I zoom in further, you cannot see the options or you cannot see the questions at the bottom. Okay, Rajasriri Siram. Okay, this is the best I can do. To arrive at this conclusion, scientists combine their data dash research done by others in the past. So we are looking at a complementary subject. We are looking at two things that are together, right? The research done by others, as well as the current research done by this fellow. So we are looking at together, two items together. So we will use with, which is Q. Okay. Now, moving on to 38. More information is needed to test dash conclusion. So over here, we are only interested in singular because only one conclusion. And this conclusion is something that everybody can assess, which is that your sound come from this some ancient fish, right? So we will use this, which is number L. All right. And that will be all for grammar close. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information shared before we move on to editing. All right. If there are no further questions, let's go on to editing here. The ozone layer is a region of Earth's stratosphere that absorbs most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation. According to a United Nations report, the hole in Earth's ozone layer is slowly, okay, right here, we are looking at a continuous form. That means we are looking at ing because as the report is being generated and given to us here, this act of the ozone layer recovering is concurrent. So we will use the word recovering. Okay. This comes 35 years after an international agreement, the Montreal Protocol, to ban the use of a class of chemicals that dash the ozone layer. You can see here, we are interested only in one specific class of chemicals. So even though chemicals, there is an S, we are looking at that class, which is singular. That type of chemicals, the specific type of chemical can have many different variants. Okay, so we will use destroys with the S. They are often used in aerosols and refrigerators. Many types of packaging contain these pollutants too. Over here, we have a spelling error. So everybody, please take note of how to spell the word. The ozone layer is a blanket of gas that exists dash 10 km and 50 km above Earth's surface. Take note, we have two different numbers here, and the layer of gas exists in between the two height, your 50 and 10 km. So when we have an and we have two numbers, we always use the preposition between. All right, because this shows a certain position. In particular, we are looking at your height. It shields the planet against harmful radiation from the sun. Shields is spelled wrongly. Skin cancer and environmental. Okay, over here, we are looking at a noun. All right. Environment in itself with the damage is an adjective. So you are describing what kind of damage there is. But we are interested to convert it to a noun. As such, it will be environmental damage. Okay? To plants and marine ecosystems are often attributed to the effects of this harmful radiation. Effects here is also a spelling error. So learn to spell it correctly. In the atmosphere, concentration levels of two such chemicals, chlorine and bromine, dash reduce. Okay, first thing, let's learn to spell concentration properly as well. Okay, so this is how you spell it. Chlorine and bromine. Okay, you can see that we are looking at two different chemicals, so we are in plural. So instead of has, we need to change it to have. All right. If we look at the sentence preceding and after it, you realize that everything is in the present tense. Shows, are, shields, etc. Okay. Moving on. The healing of the ozone layer showed what could be achieved when the world worked together for the good of the planet. Okay, over here, we are interested in suddenly the sentence structure changes to past tense. As such, all our verbs also need to be in the correct tense. So we will change it to achieve with an ed at the back. Okay. Now, let's take a look at question 49. Continuous is spelled this way. Okay. With continuous efforts to keep current policies in place, the ozone layer can fully recover by 2066, and there could be fewer occurrences of natural catastrophes. Occurrences is spelled this way, so take note of the spelling mistake. Okay, with that, we have come to the end of our editing. I'll just give everyone some time to consolidate your learning, then we'll move on. Now, I think it's of some value, some learning value, if we discuss a bit on the types of question they can test you for editing. All right. The first thing that we need to, of course, know is your spelling errors. So I just give everyone some words to remember. Okay, let's take a look at these two different these two different words and their different tenses. Present tense, fulfill, and commit. If you look closely, we are looking at single L, single T. But what if we change it to past tense? fulfilled is double L. Can you see? And committed, which is the past tense of commit, is also double T. Last one, when we look at the noun, fulfillment is single L, commitment single T. So my point to you is, for the past tense, the word, the spelling will always change. How is it changed? You need to be careful. It can be double of the same alphabet, like what I show you here. Okay, and when it comes to noun, it usually follows the base word. So you observe fulfill and fulfillment. Okay. The next thing is grammar. This is by and large the easier kind of questions. Your subject verb agreement, your conjunctions, your prepositions, yada yada. But I think the more important thing is prepositions. Some of you have difficulty using the correct words when it comes to on, along, between, so on and so forth. And I hope that you can improve your grammar by doing practice in your MCQ. The MCQ is a very good gauge on how well you know your grammar rules, and this will affect how well you can perform in editing as well. Okay, so how do you improve that grammar skill? It's through what I call targeted practice. You need to know what you don't know. I repeat again, you need to know what you don't know. So as you do the practices, you need to understand where the kind of trends in your mistakes. And this is where you understand your weak points and you work on them. So it's not about doing a lot of grammar practices, but doing and knowing where you have gone wrong. Okay? That's all I have to say for grammar. The last one, which is slightly more interesting, is known as your word form. Okay? The word form kind of questions here we are interested in is adjective to noun, verb to noun. For example, this boy is lazy. I'm describing him. So if you change it to a noun, it will be his laziness. Let me give you an example from verb to noun. A verb is an action word. The boy misbehaved in the mall. So how do we change it to a noun? It will become misbehavior. It's the same for your fulfill and fulfillment. You fulfill a wish, and the fulfillment of that wish is also a verb to noun transformation. Okay? Okay, I just hope, apart from telling you the answers, which most of you can derive, the value of attending our live stream is with regards to the skills that you need, such that you can constantly produce that kind of good results that all of us want. Okay? All right. I'll just give everyone a few more moments to take note of what I've just shared. Then we can go on to the subsequent sections of the paper. Okay, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at Complete Close here. Having a growth mindset is about believing that our brain changes and grows as we learn new things. Just dash a muscle, your brains get stronger the dash you use it. Okay, so first thing, we are comparing two things, your muscle and your brain. And the author is trying to say that your brain is behaving like a muscle. So we will say just like a muscle. The brain gets stronger the less you use it. So if you think of it, how do you get stronger? When you lift weights, when you exercise. So this means that the frequency of using increase, which means the more you use it. Okay, so over here we're not expecting the student to think about uh, your vocab very deeply. What we are interested in is the ability to actually change how you say something. Can you see? We are just looking at increasing frequency. That means you do something more times. Okay. Is there comprehension? Unfortunately, there isn't comprehension after this. Okay. We will finish off with comprehension. Close. Your brain's amazing ability to adapt is called neuroplasticity. The neuro in neuroplasticity refers to neurons dash are nerve cells. So we are looking at how neurons here, some of the body part in the brain have a similar name as new nerve cells. Okay, so we will say that are nerve cells. These cells are the building dash of the brain and nervous systems. So we are saying that these cells are like the most basic form of something, which means building blocks. These two words will always come together. Is another word is foundation. But unfortunately, they already gave building here, so I need to use blocks. Okay. They interpret information that dash from the outside world. So over here, we're interested, we need to understand the characteristics of information. What does the information do? From the outside, they, they come into us when they are transmitted. So the word that we're looking at is enters. Okay, because there's also a from. So we're looking at the end goal. So where does it go? It enters your brain from the source, which is the outside world. They also send signals to other dash. Okay, you can see over here, the previous part actually talks about nervous systems. Nervous systems consist of many small different organisms. They are called your cells. Okay, so I would say this one is a bit of a stretch if you don't know science well. But that being said, it's just one of the 12 questions here. Okay, one of the 15 questions, my mistake. When the neurons in your brain are activated in a certain pattern, the connections between these neurons get stronger. As a dash, it becomes easier for your brain to activate the same pattern. You can see here, they get stronger. This is your cause, and the effect is it becomes easier. So we are looking at the cause-effect relationship in this part of the text. So as a result, these three words will always come together to link your cause and effect together. It's a conjunction. It becomes easier for the brain to activate the same pattern in the dash. So you are saying that you have this pattern and you continually activating the neurons in the same pattern now and later next time. So we always use in the future. Okay. So in other words, every time you perform a dash, like throwing a ball, your brain remembers it. Take note, this is a, so it cannot be action because action is a vowel and you need to be N. Then they also give you information here, throwing a ball. What is this? This is a task. So that will be our answer. Next time, okay, you take a look. The task will be something. So actually, it already gives you that answer. The task will be a dash easier. So we are saying that this task can be completed with less effort. So it means a little easier. There's a here, so we are interested in a determiner. So we are interested in telling people the quantity of effort you need, even though effort is uncountable. Okay? Strengthening the connections between neurons does not just happen dash we do something correctly. You can see over here we are looking at a particular situation. You do something correctly. So it will be when, to highlight the specific time period. It also happens when we make dash. You see, we also happens to emphasize a change in the context. So we are saying that in good times, when we do something correctly, and in bad times, when we do something wrongly, the same thing will happen. So the antonym of correctly would be when we make mistakes. Okay? Okay. Subsequently, your brain rewires itself dash improve. So you can see that you want to rewire itself for this purpose. So it's like an elaboration. So it rewires itself to improve. Okay? What's this? I love everyone. Can you do primary 4 next time? I'm sorry, I have a schedule to follow. So you can always refer to our link in bio and you will know what we are going to be going through. Okay? So I will say that for primary 1 to primary 4, the idea is to prepare you for that kind of academic rigor for primary 5 and 6. So if you think that you have that bandwidth to absorb the information, which is slightly more challenging, I highly recommend you to listen in to our primary 5 lessons like today's one. Okay? Having a growth mindset can help us improve and accomplish difficult things because we know that mistakes are dash failures, but are instead opportunities for growth. So you can see here that there's a word instead and but is to show contrast. So we are saying that these are not failures but something else. So we will use not. Okay? Dash, when you make mistakes doing a challenging task, you are expanding your brain's capabilities. So you can see here that when we make mistakes, we are thinking that we think that it is unproductive. But the second part of the sentence shows that actually it is productive. So there is a difference between your expectation versus your reality. So in order to highlight this, we will always use even. All right? And that would be all for compre close. All right? So I just let everyone take a look at the answers again, and if you have questions, please ask them in the comment section. For Raja Sri Siram, can you please check with our admin site? They have the schedule and they will be able to tell you when. Okay. Um, from my side, it seems that the next P5 class will be Wednesday 5:30 p.m. Okay. Wednesday 5:30 we have ACS end of year paper. All right. Are there any more questions? If not, thank you for joining us this afternoon on TikTok Live. I'm teacher Nathan from Writers at Work. And if you'd like to hear me teach again, I will be doing so this Sunday at 3 p.m. Okay, so if you are free, do join me then, and we'll go through more P5 papers to help you improve your English. If not, we'll see you each other on Sunday. Bye bye.